I'm Yuksen, and I welcome you to another short box from Warhammer 40k's Grim History from the Beyond. Last time I talked about the Dark Hunters' origin and their culture. This time it shall be about the wars they have fought, followed by a couple of notable characters. Now, for those of you who are unaware, I have started a series of boxes on minor chapters. As such, let me know in the comments if there is a minor chapter you'd like me to discuss. And while on the subject of audience participation, if you enjoy this box, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to go that extra mile, become a member. And with that, let us start the Occlusiad War. Now, the Occlusiad War was a major conflict that raged from 550 to 560 M37 on the northwestern fringe of the Segmentum Obscurus. It was between the Imperium of Mad and the rogue tech priests known as the Apostles of the Blind King. You see, the Blind King and his fellow rogue tech priests viewed humanity as an affront to the Omnissiah. After finding many wondrous relics from the dark age of technology, they decided to start wiping out what they considered humanity. One of these relics allowed them to create supernovae from the hearts of living sun, and the Blind King consequently wiped entire constellations from existence in his quest to purge the outer Segmentum Obscurus. The Apostles also fielded an ancient tank, the secrets of which had been lost in the dark age of technology. This tracked vehicle was equipped with remotely operated weapon turrets, which were thought to be lost since the time of the Scalorine. This tank outclassed many of the vehicles fielded by the Imperium against the Apostles of the Blind King. Thousands of Scutari macroclades and cohort Cybernetica turned traitor, joining the Apostles and killing all life on numerous worlds. House Drakon pledged allegiance to the Apostles. The Blind King also gained control of many Imperial Titans by enlisting the Legio Covenantia and convincing sections of the Legio Gladio Imperatoris that he was on a mission sanctioned by the leadership of the Adeptus Mechanicus. It is even said that members of the Iron Council, initially voiced sympathy for the Blind King's cause, leading to bitter discussions within the chapter. Ultimately, the loyalists in the chapter prevailed in the disputes, preventing the Iron Hands from falling to heresy. As the war progressed, the Apostles' main force moved toward the Halo Stars. In an attempt to stop the Blind King, the forces of Mars itself intervened and helped to keep the Apostles at bay. To demonstrate their standing following their secretive internal disputes, the Iron Hands also dispatched a large contingent, including Clan Rockin and 4 other clan companies, to fight the Apostles. They brutally suppressed uprisings on a dozen worlds and defeated the Legio Covenantia in a massive battle on Palos. Led by Deramos, Clan Rockin won further victories over the Blind King's forces during the Conflagration of Gold and the Bonehouse Massacre. On several occasions, the clan company fought alongside the Legio Tempestor, with 2 organizations coming to respect each other greatly. Eventually, a section of the Apostles quickly discovered the demon weapon known as the Blade of Antwer in an ancient temple. The weapon quickly corrupted its discoverer. The latter then led his forces on a blade campaign in the Vidar sector, the Tremaine sector, and the Darkspire sector, before being stopped by the entire might of the Grey Knights. The blade and its wielder disappeared in the warp. Since there is much conflicting information from now on, I shall do my best to piece it together into some sort of cohesive state. Somewhere amongst all of these events occurring, the Dark Hunter's homeworld, Phobian, was invaded by the Apostles of the Blind King. This attack included a third of the Legio Gladio Imperatoris and devastated the Space Marines. I find it quite interesting how Phobian was attacked, since it is in the southern segmentum known as Segmentum Tempestus, while all the other events of the war are recorded as taking place in the northwestern fringe of the northern segmentum known as Segmentum Obscurus. To put it in better perspective, there are 5 fleet zones, known as segmentums, that make up the space ruled by the Imperium. The galaxy is such a vast place that it would be unmanageable without this system. But I digress. During one of the engagements, which came to be known as the Battle of Bloodsteel, the warpsmith Hilgal employed demon engines in vast numbers, as well as the chaos-corrupted warlord titan Repellus Maximal. The Dark Hunters deployed and managed to successfully contain the assault by the warpsmith and his formidable forces. The chapter sustained heavy casualties. The war continued for a decade until the navigator Joar Macran discovered the Blind King's palace ship hidden in a fold of warp space. Macran then led the battleship Dominus Astra to what they thought was the Blind King's location. The Blind King was supposedly killed by the Dominus Astra's lance batteries when they pierced his palace warship's hull, and his surviving apostles were defeated soon afterwards. Now, there is many conflicting sources on whether he died during this time or later. While poring over these records, I stand by my last Fox's statement of him invading Phobian in 936.M38, and was subsequently killed in this invasion. In between the Occlusiad War and this invasion that was to be called the Phobian War, the Dark Hunters participated in the Zerona intervention. Taking place in 89.M38, the Inquisitor Gallius took to the battlefield leading a force of Dark Hunter Space Marines and Cadian shock troops against the traitors of Zerona. The Inquisitor ended up sacrificing himself to close a rift from which the traitors were drawing sorcerous power. Though some mystics claim he still lives, trapped beyond the ability of any to rescue him. Then, of course, is the Phobian War in 936.M38. After this war, the Dark Hunters went through a drastic change and basically began anew. This event is something they refer to as their second founding. For more information on this, listen to my prior vlogs, The Dark Hunters. The next campaign, known as the Dellrond Campaign, can only be traced to sometime during the 41st millennium. I'd place it sometime before 825.M41, but some would place it any time before 996.M41. During the Dellrond Campaign, a single Dark Hunters battle company held the entrance to the Cathedral of the Emperor Ossified on the world of Dellrond for 5 years against the Orcs of War Nagrut, displaying an extraordinary level of fortitude and combat resilience, even for the transhuman Adeptus Astartes. Chaplain Hyron of the Dark Hunters' 4th Company earned a bloody reputation over the course of the Dellrond campaign. It was Hyron who rallied his brothers again and again to drive back the seemingly endless tide of orcs. Nights on the moons of Dellrond can last months or even years, and towards the end of the campaign, the battered veterans of Hyron's command squad became known as the Conclave of Midnight. The Conclave slaughtered the Orc warboss on the steps of the Cathedral of the Emperor Ossified in the final days of the conflict. They were then able to oversee the demise of War Nagrut in a storm of blood and fire. In 825.M41, an event known as the First Punisher War sought yet again to wipe out the Dark Hunters. The infamous Chaos Space Marine war band, known as the Punishers, led a massive chaos invasion of the Kargad system. The Dark Hunters chapter led the defense of its home world, but was woefully outnumbered by the forces of Chaos. The Punishers landed 250,000 Chaos cultists in the first wave upon Phobian, with mighty Emperor-class battleships to back them up. It took the help of 6 other chapters, including the Dark Suns, Brazen Fists, Doomsayers, Shadowhawks, and 2 other chapters, to finally extirpate the Punishers from this system. Without their help, the Dark Hunters would have faced certain annihilation. Despite this being a great victory, it was pyrrhic at best. You see, by the time these 6 other chapters arrived, the Dark Hunters had been reduced to only 200 battle brothers, and many of their ancient vehicles had been destroyed. But the Dark Hunters had persevered, and went on to rebuild their numbers, though it would take many standard centuries to replace the lost battle brothers. But vengeance was to be theirs, for they were one of 7 chapters to later be charged with eliminating the Punishers. It started in 939.M41, with the Battle of the Black Star, and the sable light of the Star Antilles. The Dark Hunters struck at the renegade Punisher's stronghold, claiming over half the traitor Marines' lives. And to end things off on notable campaigns, we have the Rust Hunt. The Rust Hunt is another campaign that is only known to have taken place sometime during the 41st millennium. It was a campaign fought between the Dark Hunters and the ramshackle Blitz Brigade of the Blood Axe's tank boss, Badfrag, on the world of Nar. Using the world's constant blizzards to their advantage, the Dark Hunters fought a successful hit-and-run war that slowly whittled away the tank boss's forces, though Badfrag managed to escape after killing many of the attacking Astartes. Now that we have finished the campaigns, let's talk notable characters. First, we have Brugal Payne. Brugal Payne is the former Forge Master of the Dark Hunters, now interred within a dreadnought. He is the last survivor of the second founding of the chapter in 936.M38. Brugal decided to become a dreadnought even though he had not been mortally wounded, so that he could preserve his knowledge as a tech marine for his chapter for generations to come. Payne did this because the Dark Hunters did not trust the Adeptus Mechanicus enough to allow any new tech marines to be trained by the tech priests on Mars. To end things off, we have Thirsk. Let's start with a quote from the man. "Give me a blade in my hand and an enemy to slay, and I shall be content. Grant me a bolter and an army of foes to face, and I will be truly happy." Thirsk is the 4th Company's champion. He is a winner of the Rites of Blooding with the White Scars, who went on to join the chapter for a full cycle. You see, the Rites of Blooding is an event where champions from each of the White Scars' foundings battle against each other. The victor joins the White Scars for a full cycle, so as to learn all that the founders had to teach them. A cycle is 1 year devoid of what time passes while in the warp. In other words, if they spend 1 week in the warp, no matter how much time has passed outside the warp, it is only 1 week of the cycle. During Thirsk's time with the White Scars, he fought with Corsero Khan on a Krellin, also known as Mughalath Bay, and remains a close comrade to the famed warrior. Well, I hope you enjoyed this short box. Now in the comments I have found that there have been 2 chapters suggested. This would be the Space Sharks / Carcharodons and the Raptors. Because of the mass amount of research I need to do about the Space Sharks / Carcharodons, I shall have to unfortunately hold off on it for a few weeks. As such, I shall be doing the Raptors first. I'd like to thank John Bommel 225 and Ninja Sniper Killer 65 for these suggestions, and remind those who are listening, if you guys have any minor chapters you'd like me to discuss in the future, please leave it in the comments. Also, don't forget to follow, like, comment, subscribe, or become one of our merry band and join our membership program. Have a great day, and as always, until next time, this is Yuksen, signing off.